Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Libra moon signs, or if you have significant Libra placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Libra, I'm getting kind of this. I was getting the song "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi, which is kind of sort of like an overall theme kind of energy for this reading, where it feels like with this card at the bottom of the deck, the Five of Cups, like going through some period of difficulty or loss is how it's coming through. We'll just leave it generally like that. If that's not your energy, then this is not your reading. You can go find a different one. Don't take on energy that's not yours. So just gonna leave it like that. And you also have here the Laum, which talks about like perhaps you've been feeling like you've been giving a lot to a situation, and it's kind of coming through as a reminder that if you have been giving a lot to something, that it will be returned to you, but perhaps just from like an unexpected source was how it's coming through. So it's kind of like perhaps you've been giving a lot to a certain situation. Maybe that situation's not giving back to you in some way with this Five of Cups. Like, it kind of looks to me like sort of like an investment of some sort, perhaps an emotional investment here with the Five of Cups that maybe is not is something that you're letting go, is kind of how it's coming through, which is really interesting. And then at the bottom of this deck you have here is the Red Moon, Portal for the Red Moon. I love this card so much because it's something unexpected. This card is sort of like like a happy accident kind of energy, where like stumbling upon something really unexpected, but that it might be like really positive or have like a really unexpected outcome. So there's something definitely unexpected about this. The way that it was coming through the first couple of cards, so that was the overall context. But you have here the Honesty card, which I love so much. It talks about like being honest with yourself, but I feel like also being honest with somebody else here with the two, because you have here the Two of Cups. And the Myth of the Great Mother. This card talks about sort of like, so perhaps somebody that's like very nurturing and very nurturing and life-giving here with the Two of Cups. So there may be somebody that you're connecting with, perhaps a feminine energy, but it doesn't have to be. Because it's kind of coming through as like, you know how when people ask like, how are you? And usually just like the default reaction is just to say, I'm fine, everything's good, how are you? That kind of thing. But it feels like to me, Libra, like somebody may be asking that, and it's almost like giving the really honest answer of like how it is that you're doing, especially with this sort of Five of Cups being the bottom of the deck. Like maybe going through some sort of like period of loss or grief or difficulty or hardship in some way, where it's like perhaps telling somebody about like some sort of difficult thing that you're going through very honestly, genuinely. It's not anything that's like it's not anything like a harsh truth or anything like that. It's just kind of like reality is how it's coming through, and it feels almost like liberating, because the way that I'm seeing this card, it's always like kind of strange here with like the binding on one of them, where it's like there's perhaps one person, so this may not it does feel like there's two energies here in this dynamic. So just put yourself into whichever one feels right to you, where it's like one person's perhaps going through some sort of difficulty. The other one seems to be in more of a positive space is how it's coming through. And it could be something here about like, it was coming through as like parallel, like there are parallels between the two of you. Like elements of your life that are similar, but are not quite overlapping is how it's coming through. I don't know who this is for you. May even be, I don't know, somebody that you don't know well, but there are a lot of like synchronistic parallels between the two of you maybe. Anyways, so what's coming out next though is you have here the Tabara of the Waters, which talks about like purifying the water, which is representing your emotional state. So I feel like there is some sort of like change in how you're feeling because of this like conversation or exchange or something like that. It is perhaps also giving you like having a change in attitude or emotional feeling about something that may be challenging is sort of giving you perhaps like more motivation to change something or work towards something, or like to almost like give more, because with the Laum, this is sort of like one of the trickier energies with the Laum. It talks about like sometimes you can feel like you're stuck. And so the answer is just to give more, which is interesting. Like give unconditionally, to like have like random acts of kindness or like that kind of thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know, Libra, maybe you're doing that for somebody else. Like you're just randomly being kind to a stranger, and it reveals some sort of like, here with the red moon, kind of like an accidental but happy accident. So that may be happening for you in some way. But I feel like there's something here about like, it's really interesting, the cards that are coming out, like the way that they're showing up here. You have here, so next the God of Worlds, which talks about like being able to change your circumstances, like having the ability and the confidence to change your circumstances. So I feel like that's sort of the result of whatever this conversation is, or however this plays out for you, of like changing your perspective on what needs to be done is how that's coming through. Which is so interesting. Okay, so this is where the cards are doing something strange that I've never seen before using this deck, where it's like these are the parallels is how it's coming through. These two cards are representing like sort of two sides. It could even be, so it does feel like here with the Two of Cups that it is a significant relationship, but you may also just be experiencing sort of like maybe even like a like experiencing some sort of like parallel reality in some way. That's really unexpected. A parallel reality. I don't know how that's gonna play out for you. It just is coming through like in like sci-fi. Like the one show that I watched that had a parallel reality kind of storyline was Fringe. This TV show that was on a while ago, Fringe. Or just seeing like a different version of yourself. A different version of yourself playing out through somebody else's life. That's so weird. Anyways, because that's how I'm seeing this, like a parallel reality. It could be that you're getting some sort of like shift in like how you're seeing your life at the moment, or like your circumstances in a parallel reality kind of way. That's really interesting. Okay, so Knight of Swords. This one comes through with this energy of like right is worth the cost. That there may be something challenging, but that it is worth it in some way. And with the Two of Pentacles, this card talks to me about like having to balance a difficult or challenging situation, which is interesting because this Two of Pentacles feels like more of a precarious kind of situation, which I feel like would be sort of like the more struggle sort of perspective of it, versus the Knight of Swords, which is still sort of like in this sort of quote unquote precarious or challenging or whatever situation. But this one comes in with more of sort of like a hopeful energy. Like I sometimes see this as being like silver linings, like finding the silver lining in a cloud, or like even if something is difficult, that there's something worth it, right? It's worth the cost of whatever it is that you're experiencing. So I'm seeing these two as being like the parallel experiences or interpretations or perspectives. That's how it's coming through, which is really interesting. I feel like though there's something here about like something has to be done, or like there's some sort of task or duty or responsibility that needs to be done. And I feel like there's sort of like a shift in the willingness to do it here with the collective of pixies. I feel like there's a shift in like being willing to engage in some sort of responsibility or task that I feel like perhaps was perhaps some sort of obstacle or challenge, but it does feel kind of like a new beginning here with the Myth of Kuzo. I was seeing this card in my mind's eye before I started this reading. It talks about like a force of creation, and I'm seeing just like the hair here, like fringe, with the Two of Cups as well. Something about bangs? I don't know. Being on the fringe or something. But anyways, the next two cards, again, I'm seeing this sort of like parallel realities energy, which is like the Seven of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands, again, is sort of like the more difficult or challenging way to see the situation, which is kind of like it's a burden, it's heavy, it's like perhaps it takes a toll, perhaps, I don't know, with the Ten of Wands. Versus the Seven of Pentacles, which is sort of like an energy of planting seeds and doing the work. There's something here about like the flowers, or like if this is two perspectives, it's like one of the perspectives is that like perhaps there's someone here with the Ten of Wands feeling like they have to do everything at once, is how it's coming through, or like a really big like having to do everything at once, where I feel like the Seven of Pentacles is coming through more with an energy of like doing what you can in the moment and perhaps saving like bigger tasks for later, or tackling sort of like the big challenging things early on and then doing sort of like the smaller quote unquote less important things later on. Like being able to prioritize certain tasks might be significant. It depends on the person, right? Some people like to get the small things out of the way first and then leave the bigger project for last. Other people need to get the bigger project out of the way first, or like at least part of it, focusing. It feels kind of like a difference in how people like to work, or how people manage their own energy or time on certain tasks. So if it is sort of like a partnership or a relationship in some way, or like two people working together on something, it's like these two people may have different styles of work, where one perhaps likes to do all the big projects sort of first, all at once, get it out of the way, versus the Seven of Pentacles, which is more so like waiting until the right time to tackle certain tasks, depending on like the energy, or with the Seven of Pentacles, it does include sort of like waiting until the right time, which is really interesting because the next card out you have here is Taeum the Poet, which talks about actually like some sort of like waiting on the sidelines until the right time is how that's coming through. This card also talks about like if there is some sort of project that you've been putting off, that now is the time to invest more energy into it. It was also coming through with this message of like somebody is putting more effort into a particular relationship or project. It feels like someone's putting more energy or effort into something. Especially with the collective of pixies, because it's kind of like, it does feel like there's some sort of like difficult challenge or task that is needing to be tackled or accomplished. And I feel like there is somebody here who is willing, is how it's coming through. Somebody who's willing to do the work or put in the effort or something like that. Because the next card you have underneath the Taeum the Poet is the Portal for the Rainbows, which talks about like needing the right combination of water and light in order to achieve the result, right? So it's kind of something like with the water, right? The emotional state, it's like if there was sort of like, so the Five of Cups, right? Like some sort of difficulty, loss, sadness of some sort. There's a rainbow energy coming in to sort of, the light is coming in. Okay, and then the last couple of cards, which is so incredible and lovely. The Fairy Godmother and the Rar card. So the Fairy Godmother, in this case, was coming in, like the line that stuck out to me for the guide from the guidebook was a last minute rescue. Like something that feels like just a moment of grace, a moment of like relief, or especially if it's something where like you thought something wouldn't be possible, or something that wouldn't be, I don't know, that like that wouldn't be possible perhaps, but now is arriving, is how it's coming through. Again, sort of like an unexpected gift, or a moment of grace, or something that feels like it's undeserved, but it has nothing to do with deserving. It's like it's a gift. It's given freely. With the Rar card as well. So this card talks about like pure potential energy. And it's something that builds on top of like, it builds and builds and builds. So it can be very, it can have the effect of being very ungrounded here with the Rar. Where it's like, in order to not let this get carried away, because I feel like that's sort of why it's coming out. It's like not letting something get carried away is to ground and earth your energy so that something doesn't get carried away. Okay, so just a reminder where we left off. Maybe just taking a pause. Maybe just like taking a pause to like whatever this moment is of grace, like not accepting it with gratitude and appreciation, but also grounding yourself so that it doesn't get it doesn't, I don't know how else to phrase it, but besides getting carried away with something. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. It does feel like a positive energy though. It's just kind of like, remember to ground yourself and to take a moment of pause as well when it's needed. Okay, and it's coming out here with the dog, which I love so much because this is like a 10 of Cups kind of energy, but it talks about like loyalty and companionship. And it's so interesting. The last couple of cards here, you have the 7 of Wands and the 4 of Pentacles. And again, this is sort of like the parallel energies here with the bars. I don't think these cards have ever come out together. I'm feeling like Libra, you're perhaps in this 4 of Pentacles energy where I sometimes see this card as being like this is sort of like back to the beginning of the reading where it's like somebody asks you how you're doing and you say fine, right? Like that kind of thing. Like the default response would be this, the 4 of Pentacles. But I feel like there's an energy here with the 7 of Wands. Someone who's like perhaps like asking deeper questions, right? Like, or trying to get to the answer or the solution of something, right? Like it could be someone who knows you well or can read you very well is how that's coming through with the 7 of Wands. Like someone who can read you very well, even if you have some sort of like defense up or like something like that. It's like they can read you very well is how that's coming through. Like your best friend or something like that. Because you also have here the Page of Wands, which this card to me always looks like looking closer at something. So this might be flipped, Libra. Take it how it resonates. If like it could even just be reciprocal, where it's like there's one person perhaps who's going through something difficult, but perhaps is not sharing that. And this one's sort of like looking closer at it or seeing some sort of like clue or something that's not being said or, well, that's the thing though. I do feel like it is being said in some way with the honesty. Anyways, okay. The last couple of cards though, I'm not going to go through each of them individually just because they're coming through as sort of like a collect or like just more it's one entire message. You have here the three of coins, 3 of pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. So I do feel like this is going to be some sort of collaboration, especially with the collective of pixies, because this talks about like working together on something, working together to accomplish something. And there's so much love in this connection, a lot of loyalty and devotion and trust as well. But I feel like there is something here, if there is someone here with the High Priestess, because this one talks to me about like things that are hidden. So if there are things that are hidden, or that are, for whatever reason, not being shared in some way, it's kind of like encouraging that to be brought out into the light, or into the open, like to be honest about it. Because I do feel like there's sort of like a surprising, I should stop using that word. It's not surprising, but unexpected moment of grace, or like a gift, or just like something that helps you or the situation to move forward or to get unstuck. Because the cards that are coming out, like these 4 cards came out together. You have the 6 of Wands. I love this card so much. The 6 of Wands, which talks about success, but also just like going to where there is nectar, going towards like success and sweetness and happiness and joy and positivity. Like all of that energy is in this card. And then you have 3 major arcana to end it, which all came out together. First of all, the Devil, which is talking about, like, I feel like there's something like almost like really eating at someone is how that's coming through. Like it's eating at them, whatever that means. Like something perhaps very stressful, but the way that it's turned here is kind of like not wanting to share that, because it's something that perhaps someone feels like shame about, or whatever, any sort of devil sort of energies, right? Like shame, fear, guilt, those kind of emotions. But with the Ace of Cups, I feel like it's like trying to encourage someone to like get it off their chest, because I feel like that's gonna purify like the emotional space, like changing someone's attitude about it, or their perspective on it, or just like releasing some sort of emotional burden as well. But then finally you have here the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune, which is talking to me about like creating some sort of change here with the Magician. And the Wheel of Fortune, which to me always talks about like getting the wheel turning again. Like I often see this as being sort of like just like a small little fix can get the machine rolling again, like that kind of thing, get the gears going again, whatever the phrase is, I don't know. But I feel like, so there is a shift. It's just kind of like, it just needs a little touch of magic from someone, a little touch of magic, a little touch of like grace and like positivity and love, perhaps. It just gets everything moving smoothly again, is kind of how it's coming through. So Libra, I'm gonna leave it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye.